Good morning, everyone. Today, Your Excellency, Mr. Ahmed Al-Muharbi, Professor Abdullah Shamsi, and honored guests. Thank you for being here today for the launch of the new program for the British University in Dubai, Building Services Engineering. We would like to start the day with a small note from Professor Abdullah Shamsi, Vice Chancellor of the British University in Dubai.
Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. Let me start by welcoming all of you to this event, this occasion. We are launching today a new master degree in Building Services Engineering. I'd like to start by welcoming our guest actually. I'll start with His Excellency Ahmed Al-Muharbi. Ahmed Al-Muharbi is the Secretary General of Dubai Supreme Council for Energy here in Dubai. Ahmed is also an old friend from our old days in Atlanta. Okay, well, I should say from the old days rather than an old friend. He's still young as always. Thank you very much, Ahmed, for accepting our invitation and coming here to us here today. I would like also to welcome Ahmed Bokash, who is coming from the Society of Engineers. He is representing the society and the chairman of the society, BUiD Al-Hajri. We also have a nice delegate of people coming from different organizations. Ali Al-Jassim from Ittihad Energy Services, he's joining us I hope soon. Mark Wilson from Atkins, thank you very much for coming here as well. And Hassan Yusuf from Ashley, hope he'll be joining us also soon. Majid Fayyad also from Firing Services, and our people here in the university. Thank you all very much for being here today. Actually, the Building Services Engineering is a new master program that we wanted to introduce here in the country, and this is the first program of its kind in the country. When we designed the program, we designed it with the support of CIBSE, the local chapter here in the UAE. And this is in continuation of the vision of the British University in Dubai. The British University in Dubai that was established in 2003 by a decree or a law actually from His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum in 2003. Started or worked in the area of postgraduate education. And we do only until now master degrees and PhD degrees only. This year we are celebrating, actually this week, the graduation of 30 PhD graduates, which is very significant in terms of UAE, and over 215 master level graduates. The British University in Dubai, when it was established to be not-for-profit university, provide education in all fields of knowledge, and with the support of our UK partners that you see there on the other side of the screen, at University of Manchester, Cardiff, Edinburgh, and Glasgow. We at the university have 3 faculties: the Faculty of Education, the Faculty of Business, and also the Faculty of Engineering and IT, where this program is hosted. With all these combinations, we claim to be one of the leading universities now in the country with that postgraduate education, and we hope that this program will add something to the industry here in the UAE. Thank you all for your attendance, and I'm sure that the discussion that will follow afterwards will be very valuable. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Abdullah, for your lovely note. I would like to ask to the stage His Excellency Mr. Ahmed Al-Muharbi, Energy Supreme Council member, to give us a small speech.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. on behalf of the Dubai Supreme Council of Energy. It gives me a great pleasure to share with you our journey in the pursuit of the green growth and sustainability, which began 6 years ago. As you are aware, UAE has been a dynamic player on the global arena to promote energy efficiency and green growth, as it has demonstrated action in the area of clean energy, subsidy reforms, and regulatory frameworks. The effort of the UAE and Dubai to spearhead clean energy development in the region contributed widely beyond the border of the UAE. In a rapidly changing world, Dubai has seized the opportunity to follow a sustainable development pathway as it continues to grow. The clear and the supportive vision of our leadership paved the way for a long-term strategy to achieve the goals of Dubai Integrated Energy Strategy and also Dubai Clean Energy Strategy 2050. These strategies have resulted in a deployment of energy demand reduction programs and rationalization of water and electricity. To build on this momentum, Dubai expanded its reach to the globe by recently launching the World Green Economy Organization as a podium for nations to influence joint actions in the field of renewable energy, energy efficiency, green funding, research and development. It has been an exceptional journey for us, where we encountered a lot of challenges. However, we turned these challenges into opportunities and set a strategic direction to support the plan of action and the clear roadmap. The Dubai Sustainable Energy Model integrates energy as an essential element for economic development, where the prudent use of our resources is no longer an option, but it is a mandate. For that reason, renewable energy was placed at the top of our green agenda in Dubai, to diversify energy sources and contribute to carbon reduction. Our roadmap and programs align with Dubai Smart City vision, where clean sources of energy, fuel and optimized consumption supports the objective of efficient, seamless and safe and smart city. Through the establishment of the Dubai Supreme Council of Energy as a governance platform with a structured energy strategy, we have implemented the specific programs and projects to build capacity and drive strategic direction. On the building energy efficiency side, we have launched several programs and projects to drive green building regulation, building retrofits, solar rooftops, and increased penetration of district cooling. We have also established HVAC Energy Services as a super ESCO to drive energy performance contracting in Dubai. I think Professor Abdullah had mentioned he's in his way. Mr. Ali Al-Jassim. He is leading this company. As Dubai prepared for the World Expo 2020 and in pursuit of the vision of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, the Vice President of UAE, Prime Minister and the ruler of Dubai, to build a green economy for sustainable development, we launched the solar park demonstrating Dubai's commitment to harness renewable energy and create business opportunity in the clean energy sector. Recently, His Highness announced an aspiring target of 75% of our power to be generated from renewable energy by 2050 and pursue less dependency on fossil fuel. To back this vision, Dubai now operates a utility-based solar plant of 213 megawatt capacity with 800 megawatt PV and 700 megawatt CSP planned for 2019. That means around 1,500 within a couple of years. The installed capacity will scale up to 5,000 megawatt by 2030. These projects will be delivered through the public-private partnership here in Dubai by this model. Ladies and gentlemen, on this occasion, I commend the British University in Dubai for launching the Building Services Engineering Program. This initiative would support Dubai and the UAE in building national capacity and increase necessary skills to build a mature marketplace for efficient and smart building. We extend our appreciation and support to your honorable university and wish the faculty and the students immense success. As you know, by 2030, Dubai plans to become a role model in energy management and sustainability. I can affirm that skills development institution like the British University in Dubai is a strategic partner in building the national talent to achieve this vision. Thank you very much.
I would like to ask to the stage Professor Abdullah Shamsi, as he is getting an award for sharing the sustainability model of an appreciation.
This is the secret of our work. It's all here. But you know, maybe you have to look deep. That's okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you, Professor Abdullah. And now to the stage, Mr. Ahmed Bakash, board member of the UAE Society of Engineers, to give us an insight of higher education and engineering.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. First of all, I would like to thank the honorary members and Dr. Abdullah, His Excellency, also Engineer Ahmed, and all the honorary guests and the British University of Dubai for inviting the UAE Society of Engineers to this honorable platform and the launch of their new program. I will briefly take you through a small presentation about the Society of Engineers. I will try to pass through the presentation because it's fairly long, but we'll just give you a brief about our activities. The Society of Engineers was formally established on April 3rd, 1979 through the Ministry of Labour ministerial decree. And we have almost 30,000 semi-government and non-profit members and organizations, and it offers its services to 30,000 members. We have affiliations with the Federation of Arab Engineers and also the World Federation of Engineer Organization, as well as the Gulf Engineering Union. We have different type of memberships. Of course, as an engineer practicing in the UAE, you have to be registered with the UAE Society of Engineers. Our activities include having an arbitration center, a training and development center, and international testing center, as well as an employment center. So for examinations such as the GMAT, we are certified examination center, as well as we also do the certifications for engineers of all fields which graduate outside the country and within the country for their certifications for their approval for the Dubai municipality system, as well as a training and development center. So one of our main mandates is also to rehabilitate engineering professionals through conducting conferences as well as training courses and seminars in order to enrich the field of engineering as a whole. We have certification also for facilitating activities related to the Project Management Institute, official training courses. Of course, this is one in many, so I don't want to take too much time. This is examples of some of our free seminars. We have a number of free seminars which you are all invited to join. We also have an international center for examinations and certified by Pearson VUE as well. And we have highly respected examination centers include the GMAT, RCP, and APICS. We have a number of publications, which I hope all of you are not receiving. If you're not receiving these publications, Mr. Ahmed sitting at the back taking photos from the Society of Engineers, he'll be happy to take your information, and we can allow these publications to be sent to you as well. And you are all welcome to our headquarters at any time. Our doors are open, so if you have any more clarifications, we'll be happy to answer them. And once again, I wanted to thank the honorary members and the British University of Dubai for hosting us, and we wish you all the best with your new program and the success for the field of engineering in the upcoming years, which will be very critical with the advent of the Expo 2020. And thank you very much for hosting us.
Professor Abdullah, can I invite you to the stage to give that trophy to Mr. Ahmed? I would like to thank His Excellency Mr. Ahmed Al-Muhaibi for his presence as he needs to leave for a prayer engagement. I would like to thank Your Excellency for coming and participating with us. I would like now to invite to the stage Professor Bassam Abu Hijre, Dean of Engineering and IT Faculty of BUiD, to the stage to explain about the program.
Thank you very much, and thank you all for coming today. Assalamu alaikum and sabah khair, and good morning to ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to just give a brief outline about the program, the faculty, and how the program fits within the vision of the faculty. And the VC has already talked about how the faculty fits within the vision of the university as a whole. I just want to again confirm one of the things that's very important for the British University is that all our programs are accredited by the ministry, something which is very important and not available in all universities here in the UAE. The Faculty of Engineering was one of the original starters within the British University in Dubai in 2003, and you can see here that we have a wide range of programs that have been developed throughout the years, starting all the way back in 2004 with our project management and informatics, and the year after that with our sustainability program. This is important because these are essentially the three main themes that are there within the Faculty of Engineering: the management aspect, the IT aspect, as well as the sustainability aspect. You will see that all other programs that have followed essentially follow or try to support one of these three themes, or sometimes they even cross over between different themes. The latest program that we have and we're about to talk about here today is our Building Services Engineering program. And this will start in January 2018. But throughout the years, you can see that we have programs about project management, informatics, IT management, sustainability, systems engineering, intelligent building design automation, construction management, and we have our PhD program. Our first PhD program started in 2012. That was PhD program in project management, and we've already had 2 rounds of graduates, and we will have the 3rd round in the coming program. We also have our other PhD programs in sustainability. We have computer program PhD in computer science. We will be having 3 graduates this year for the first time. And we also introduced a portfolio of new project management programs. So this is just an outline of the different programs within the faculty, and I just wanted to emphasize the fact that we have different themes: management, IT, and sustainability. And this is where the program of building services fits in. As I said, sustainability is one of the important themes that we do at the university, and we are actually the leading university in the region to talk about sustainability. When we first started our program in 2005, people were not aware about what this sustainability is all about, what does it include, and what does even a green building mean. It wasn't until 2007 when His Highness declared that Dubai is going to be a green city that people started to think about sustainability and green buildings. Sustainability, we all know, is main components are environmental, economical, and social. And this is a very important aspect that we also try to focus on. Most of the people tend to focus only on the environmental/technical aspects. but we also keep in mind that we also have to be aware of the impact on the social aspect as well as the economic aspects, and we try to build this with all our programs. The first program, as I said, that started the whole theme of sustainability was the Master of Science in Sustainable Design Built Environment, which started in 2005. This was followed by the Systems Engineering, 2008, Intelligent Building Design and Automation in 2010. One of the things that you can see that some of the programs actually share similar components. And the idea is that, again, we recognize that there is an overlap between different aspects. We don't work in silos. There's a lot of synergy between the different programs. Structural engineering was in 2013, and again, this program is also focusing a little bit on rehabilitation, which is a very important aspect of buildings. This is focusing more on the rehabilitation of structural elements, and we will talk about building services and intelligent building. We'll be talking about the facilities within buildings as well. The PhD in architecture, 2014. The systems engineering management, 2014, and we have our building services here. And as you can see, the building services is designed to essentially complete the scope, where we talk about the design aspect, the passive aspect, the active aspect, we talk about the management, we talk about the technical aspects. And the idea is that we want to complete the full scope of elements or knowledge that people require when they're dealing with the built environment, irrespective of their role within the industry. And just as a bonus, we've already submitted an application to the ministry that we are going to start PhD programs in engineering, and this has been submitted to the ministry, and we're just waiting for their final approval for this. Now, why building services engineering? As the VC mentioned earlier, and Mr. Ahmed mentioned as well, there are a lot of activities here in the UAE that deal with the built environment, and there are a lot of projects that are going on. Actually, this morning I was listening to the news, and Dubai has released their new budget for next year, and there is a big investment, a big spending increase in a lot of infrastructure projects. And again, all of this leads to the idea of Dubai being a smart city, a healthy city, and a happy city, as well as an environmentally friendly city. And this is a very important concept, and again, this also relates to the theme of sustainability, as well as the program that we are talking about. So in the UAE, we have a lot of major construction projects, whether we're talking about infrastructure, we're talking about things like Dubai Expo 2020. All of these projects require a heavy investment in both infrastructure as well as supporting services. We also have to worry about energy consumption. In the UAE, we have one of the highest energy consumption per capita in the world. A lot of it has to do with HVAC and the air conditioning, but also the fact that for the most part, people were not paying much attention to the issue of efficiency and sustainability. Energy was cheap, people were trying to build quickly and sell, and essentially no one was paying attention to the issue of energy consumption and energy efficiency. Dubai and the UAE in general, they have signed up to all the agreements about climate change and the environmental protection agencies, and they're also committed to the reduction of their carbon footprint. Again, to this end, we also need to increase the knowledge and expertise about sustainability and now what we can do in terms of strategies and approaches in order to reduce our carbon footprint. Something that has recently surfaced here, although most of the time people tended to focus on the sustainability of new buildings, people have started looking up at what we already have in terms of building stock. We have a lot of buildings that have been built with inefficient systems, with inefficient designs. And this is actually becoming problematic because you have a huge block of old buildings that are running inefficiently. And it is a very important element to try to upgrade those buildings in order to enhance the efficiency of the overall system. It's not enough just to focus on new buildings. We have a lot of leaky buildings that have already been built, and we need to try to plug these leaks. And we see that one of the strategies of the Dubai Supreme Energy Council is actually the refurbishment of existing stock. As Mr. Ahmed Henry said, this is an important part toward smart cities and the building, integrated buildings and smart cities. The integration of the building services is an important aspect in order to achieve this, because in the past people were looking at only individual elements, but we know at the end of the day that the sum of the whole can be more than the individual elements that go into this. But to do this, we have to do it in a smart way. We have to be able to integrate all of these elements together so they can work at a much higher level and in an optimized fashion. If we do this, we'll be able to pursue the strategy of Dubai and the UAE of achieving happiness for the occupants. We'll be able to increase their productivity. We'll be able to provide them with a healthier environment, and we'll be able to provide them also with a safer place to work or live in. All of these are actually, again, elements within the built environment and building services engineering. Something that is also very important. A lot of times the UAE has tended to rely on just getting consultants to do a job and leave. But one of the important things that have been recognized recently is the fact that you actually have to grow and maintain the knowledge within the country. And this is what the British University is doing in general, and this program again will help in that sector as well. We will help develop local knowledge that will help solve local problems and will be a way to actually grow the next generation of local scientists. This is something that His Highness has actually recently emphasized, is the fact that we need to invest more in terms of science, local talent, and local scientists. If we look at the building services strategy that Mr. Ahmed has talked about, and specifically when we talk about the demand side management, this is the part that they're looking at, and they have identified 9 pillars where they want to target in order to help Dubai reach its 2030 energy strategy. And as you can see from these pillars, you have building regulations, retrofits, district cooling, standard labeled water, lighting, power, water tariffs, demand response, and CIBSE Dubai. The idea is based on all of these different sectors. They have identified different interpretation mechanisms. And I just wanted to show where building services actually fits within all of these different elements. Building services fits in building regulations, because a lot of the building regulations actually have to do with the active systems that are within the building, not only the building envelope. Building retrofits. One of the easiest, not the easiest, one of the most convenient ways of actually retrofitting existing buildings is looking at the infrastructure, the building services within it, upgrading old antique designs with new systems which are more efficient. You can easily cut down significantly on your energy bill, anywhere between 10 to 50%, depending on the type of building, the type of services that are there, and the level of intervention that you do. District cooling, a very important concept again. This is again looking at the growth and the new technologies that people are using within the building services engineering, especially when it comes to HVAC and air conditioning systems, because we recognize that this is the biggest energy consumption system within the UAE. Water reuse and efficient irrigation. Again, building services, it deals with all these aspects, whether it's the water supply or the water drainage aspects of use. Lighting, demand response. This is actually a very important concept, and again, this looks at the integration of the different systems, as well as integrating it with the people, with the social aspects. You want to be able to provide the right services for the people, but also provide that at the most economical and efficient way. As well as CIBSE Dubai, where we talk about the promotion and growth of renewable energy within Dubai. Mr. Ahmed talked about the solar park, when we talk about PVs within a global or a commercial level design. But CIBSE Dubai is actually focusing on PVs and building renewable energy at the residential sector level, where people will be able to integrate PVs and other types of renewable energy within their own buildings, own villas, in order to help support, control their demand, and reduce the stress on the grid within the UAE. So we can see that the building services engineering actually fits across a wide range of aspects that deal specifically with the strategy of Dubai when it comes to the energy. Now, why should we study building services engineering? Most of the time, building services engineering is actually an interdisciplinary field. It encompasses people from different backgrounds: mechanical, electrical, civil, water, some other aspects as well. But the problem is, most of the time when people come from these different backgrounds, they are unable to speak the other person's language. They are unable to know what they're talking about or to communicate their ideas to them. That's why building services engineering is an important concept, because it actually tries to integrate all of these aspects into one. We don't expect someone graduating from this to actually be knowledgeable in all fields of building service engineering, but at least to be able to talk to the people within that team. This is a very important concept, and it goes back to what's being promoted all along in different building regulations, is that idea of an integrated design team. So you have to have the different people who control or have an impact on the design, all of them sitting at the same table, and they're sitting at the same table. They have to be speaking the same language. They have to be able to understand what other people are interested in, and what impacts whatever they do might have on other people's designs. The different development, the rapid development in different technologies that have been seen across the years means that a lot of people have been working in the field for 15, 20 years. They're essentially working with an old set of knowledge and skills, and they need to be upgraded. This is an important concept which is being done in a lot of other countries, but seems to be a little bit foreign here to us in the UAE, the idea of professional development or continuous development. We need people to continue to upgrade their level of knowledge, expertise, and skills in order to keep up with the latest technologies, and thus be able to achieve the best designs that they can do within the built environment in order to achieve the goals of energy saving, as well as providing a healthy and good environment. This is done through the building services engineering, where essentially people who will be studying this, they'll be able to distinguish themselves, essentially set themselves apart from other people who are working in the field, that these people are actually, they have the latest in technology, they have the latest in knowledge, and they have the latest way of thinking. So they are essentially able to contribute more to their organizations, and that will help those people who study this program also progress more within their own organization or maybe to other organizations. Last but not least is the fact that we're also trying to push for people to become more professional, and that also includes getting professional recognition or professional membership in international organizations. Specifically, we're talking about CIBSE, Chartered Institute of Building Services, as well as ASHRAE, which is for the air conditioning services in engineering in the United States. The program, as the VC mentioned, has been designed specifically to actually meet the CIBSE requirements, and hopefully once the program is launched, we will see professional accreditation for the program in addition to the academic accreditation that we have already achieved. Last but not least, again, students who will go through this program, this will open the path for them, should some of them require or want to pursue their PhD degrees. This will be a good starting point because, again, it will give them the latest in terms of knowledge, as well as will give them the research skills and expertise that they will need should they choose to go to the PhD program. Now, the program has been designed to actually serve a wide range of students, or to essentially service a wide range of students, mainly for people from engineering and technology backgrounds that are related to building services engineering. As I said, building services engineering is a broad background. People from different aspects can actually be working in this field. So anyone who with a relative experience or work experience can actually join this program, whether they are actually new graduates trying to become members or try to join the building services engineering, or established engineers who have been working in this field for a while, but they want to upgrade themselves as well. Both of these will actually benefit from the program that we have designed. Latest technology and the ability to work in multidisciplinary project is an important aspect again, because as I said, now people are moving away from the concept of working in series where someone will do one part and then move it to the next and the next and the next. Everyone has to be working in parallel and within one group. The spectrum of building services, again, also covers a wide range of professions. So people, building services can be involved in the designing stage, the contracting stage, facilities management, asset management, energy management, regulators. So they can be working both in the government as well as the private sector. So there's a broad spectrum of people and backgrounds that can benefit from this program. Now, a quick outline of the structure of the program. We have the Masters in Sustainable Building Services Engineering. We have actually two routes to get your MSc. You can go the dissertation route or you can do the research project route. They are similar to the most extent. They only differ in the level of practicality versus the research or academic research that you will do. So the first 5 components essentially are common across the board: HVAC, plumbing, electrical and lift and fire, building acoustic illumination, and building management systems. People who work in the area of building services know that these are essentially the core elements of a building services engineering. Anyone who will be working in one of those fields, but in order to understand the full picture of building services, you need to know all of these. One thing I would like to highlight is this program here, or this module. This module focuses mainly on the energy aspects within buildings, as well as the energy modeling part. This is an important addition, not for the past, but this is actually looking to the future. People working in the future in the building services engineering, they need to be aware of how they will be able to actually model and analyze different designs within the building services and look at the integrated or the overall energy consumption within those buildings. This is not something that is the norm across many programs around the world, but we felt that it's very important to include. And again, we received support from CIBSE that they see this as an important element to be added in order to create building services engineers for the future, not the people that were working in the past. Once the student has completed these 5 core modules, they have a chance to take a 6th module and then do an MSc dissertation, a 60-credit one. Or they can take 3 electives and do a research project. The difference between 2 is just the level of depth of analysis that is done. But in both cases, there will be the main elements of research: identifying a problem, an aim, doing some literature review, identifying methodology, doing the research, and essentially analyzing the results. This will give you 180 credits, which is essentially the requirement to achieve a master's degree in building services engineering. If a student doesn't do the dissertation, they stop at 120 credit, they can get the postgraduate diploma. Now, recognizing again the background of building services engineering, that they could come from different areas, different backgrounds, or they have different interests, we have a broad range of potential list of electives that a student can actually select from. They can focus on the management part, they can select on the building envelope part, they can look at the renewable energy, they look at the energy aspect, they can look at the indoor environment. So depending on the interest of the student, he or she can actually select they have a broad range of potential topics that they can select in order to complement whatever they're working on. Ideally, they will select something that will also help them in their research. Now, although this looks like a big list, we recognize, and we've seen from the past, that the spectrum of people joining us might actually have different interests. So that's why we also allow the student to select even one program or one module that's outside this list if it is deemed useful for their work. For example, if someone wants to work with big data, they can take a module from IT. Or if someone is interested a little bit about project management, they can take an element from project management to complement this. So depending on the student's interest and collaboration and coordination with their supervisors, they can actually select other modules in order to complement their academic background. Now, the admission requirements, they are fairly standard across the university, and they are again based on the ministry requirements. The student needs to have an accredited bachelor degree of a relevant background. This could be engineering or any other related discipline, depending on their background and their work experience. They need to show that their GPA during their bachelor degree was at least equal to a good upper second class or a GPA of 3 out of 4. They need to provide energy proficiency evidence, and that's usually IELTS or TOEFL. And in case a student who does not meet any of these requirements, there are still ways of them joining the program, but this will have to be discussed on a case-by-case basis. So if anyone is interested, but they, for whatever reason they are missing on one or more of these topics or these requirements, feel free just to contact our student services, and they will be able to arrange and discuss with you if there is a way for you to join the program. Usually we can have enter people on probational or temporary basis until they achieve some of the requirements. We also have a credit transfer policy, so students who have started taking some programs or some modules somewhere else, depending on their relevance and when they put them and the grades that they have achieved, they can actually transfer some of those credits in order to reduce the amount of work or the time that they spend at the program here. Thank you very much for your attention, and if you have any quick questions, I'll be happy to try to answer them. No questions? Yes.
Professor, can you just elaborate more about the elective module?
This one?
Sorry. Yes, the elective module. Just clarify a little bit more.
So they can select an elective module out of this list here, depending on their interest. If someone, let's say, wants to work more in the energy aspect, they can take energy management. If someone works more on the indoor environment, let's say pollution or quality, they can take indoor environment. Some people might be working on the maintenance aspect, so they can take a more course in the maintenance. So depending on their interest, they can select one of these modules if they're going the dissertation route, or up to 3 modules if they're taking the research route. They can take 3 modules out of this list.
I got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I have a question at how can this program integrates to the other notion of the facilities management, and also there is it's linked with the green supply chain or green procurement and also the facilities management. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Again, if you're talking about the facility management, it has to do a lot with your maintenance as well. So a student working with these equipment, they will know the technology, but then they'll be able to develop the maintenance schemes for them. And that's where most of the facility management, when we talk about the building services, comes into play. How to design your maintenance schedule, repairs, and upgrades. So students will be able to work with this module, as well as the research work. Because again, this research work, whether it's a dissertation or the research project, allows the students to actually focus on something that is very specific, something that they want to extend or to become an expert in. And this gives them the chance to do this. So they can actually take a project, let's say, looking at facility management strategies within the UAE, which one will work best, and what are the shortcomings of them, or proposing new strategies. They'll be able to do this during the research work as well.
Because a lot of work in UAE is about the facilities management, and a lot of organizations and firms are working there. Why not to include the facilities management, sustainable facilities management as a core subject rather than the elective one?
I understand this, but again, remember one thing, we were limited in terms of the number of modules that we have to put. If you put this one here, again, that will not allow students to take any more electives. And not all students actually, or not all people who work in the facility management. Yes, a lot of them do, but as we've seen, people working in the design, people working in the contracting, these are not facility managers, but they need to know about this. So we were limited in terms of how many modules we can actually fix across the board, and we gave priorities to the modules that will achieve the CIBSE accreditation. And that's why we focus on these modules in order to achieve that one. Any other questions?
What is the model? Fully part-time attendance?
It's mainly designed for part-time. Thank you very much. The program can be taken either full-time or part-time, but mainly it's designed for part-time students. The classes are usually at night, 6 to 10, and the student usually takes up to 2 modules per term, which means they come only twice a week for classes. We have 3 terms per year, so which means that within 1 academic year, the students can be finishing their 6 courses. And they essentially will have up to 8 months in order to do the dissertation work. Or if they want to do the research project track, they'll be able to do within 8 months, they will be able to do another 2 modules as well as the research project. So overall, if a student is actually following the suggested study plan, they should be finished within 18 to 20 months, depending on when they join the program. Okay, thank you very much.
The future of building services engineering in the UAE, GCC, and wider MENA region. Growth demand for building services engineering and innovation within the industry expert. We will have a round-table discussion, and I would like to invite to the stage Mr. Mark Wilson, Practice Lead for T&I Building Services at Atkins, Mr. Liju Thomas, President of ASHRAE Falcon Chapter, Mr. Majd Fayyad, Deputy Manager Sustainability and Benchmarking, Senior Manager Building Services, Dr. Ala Al-Amir, BUiD Professor, Head of Building Services Engineering Master Degree Program. Also to the stage, Professor Bassam Abu Hajle, Dean of Engineering and IT.
Thank you very much for coming. The idea was we wanted to, when we designed the program, we actually did, we had discussions with different stakeholders within the industry. And when we designed the program, again, we wanted to take into consideration all the interests that they have in order to make sure that the students who are graduating from this program are actually students or people, professionals that the industry needs and essentially can utilize in order to improve their efficiency. And one of the things that we're planning to do within this roundtable discussion is essentially just to get an idea again about the different prospects or the different views of people within the industry and how they see this new program fitting or serving their needs. And at the end of the day, we open also the floor for discussion from the audience in order to ask about how different aspects within the industry can utilize building services. So without further ado, I would like to start with Mr. Mark, who's the practice leader of TI Building Services in Atkins. And my question to you, Mark, is the integrated design process and the integrated design team is becoming the new norm in today's design. As we said, from the past, people used to design one item and pass it to the next. Now this is not the case. In order to improve the efficiency and even the speed of producing projects, people have to rely more on the integrated design team. And I just want to find out is, how does the building services people or part of team work within the integrated team that you have at Atkins? And if you can give us some idea of projects and examples that you have integrated building services people within the overall design team, and how that reflected on the efficiency and productivity of your designs.
Thank you very much for inviting me, first of all. I think you summed it up in your presentation earlier, Dr. Professor Bassam. Integration between all of the various stakeholders is key to the success of any project. Nowadays, budgets are tight, programs are even tighter. But if you fail to prepare, you'll prepare to fail. So early integration with all major stakeholders is key to the success of any project. And thankfully, since I was studying a while ago, technology has advanced significantly. There's a lot more programs and technology available to students now to be able to model and analyse potential solutions, discard solutions that aren't going to meet the objectives of the project, and interrogate the program, the models and the systems proposed in more detail, a lot quicker and a lot easier in today's learning environment. However, in industry, that's at the forefront as well. Systems such as Saphira allow us to do very quick architectural models, building services systems that we can assess and analyse performance, get high-level energy consumption, carbon production, and it allows us to look at different materials, improving U values, improving building performance very, very quickly, but relatively accurately. It also allows architects, structural engineers, building services engineers, and other stakeholders in the design to get around the tool, throw some ideas at it very, very quickly, and look to get the quick wins very easily in the design process to allow us to start making real progress in finalising the design.
Thank you very much. Mr. Liju, you're essentially the president of ASHRAE chapter in the UAE.
That's right.
ASHRAE is well known around the world. They essentially deal mainly with the HVAC, and their standards are, or the standards are essentially the code in most countries. You find it in LEED, Istiqama, and all other things in the new upcoming SAFAR program. So one of the things that I would like to focus on, and I know that ASHRAE does this, they have always, I get the email about some workshops and presentations, but again, I've been here in the country for a long time, and I still see the lack of high-level professional development that people will be able to do. So yes, they receive the odd lecture here and there, but what do you see the importance of a program like this in terms of actually raising the level of skills and knowledge of people working in the HVAC industry? And as you mentioned, HVAC is our main energy consumer here in the UAE.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Basam, for having me here. Look, ASHRAE, maybe you may have more experience than we in the country, and maybe as you rightly pointed out, we could have done more, but we are trying to do our best. We have already started our global training center this year. ASHRAE has opened its global training center and World Trade Center. We are providing HVAC courses, design courses, building energy quotient, the BQ, and so on. Now, when you think about construction, and especially MEP, and thank you for the beautiful presentation which you have done, I will put it in 4 levels. One, basically the design. Second, the integration of the MEP services in the design, which will basically come with plumbing, electrical, lighting, firefighting, fire alarm, all of those. Because for anybody who is designing HVAC, should also know what kind of loads is the lighting bringing in, or what kind of ventilation loads do you need it. What is the purpose of that whole building? How much of it is going to be residential? How much of it will be for the office use? Let's say retail shops, and especially when it comes to restaurants. You will see a lot of restaurants in Dubai nowadays. Almost all buildings has got some restaurants. And I will say restaurants are one of the major factors which takes a lot of energy, because they use a lot of fresh air and extract, which you cannot avoid to. Now these kind of programs which you bring in, you need basically to have a reference point. Where do you start? How do you define what is necessary? How much do you need? What is best? Because even with ASHRAE, when somebody comes and tells me, we have designed this based on, say, 62.1, standard 62.1, basically for indoor environmental quality, and I tell them, what we are giving is the base minimum. If you say you have designed it as per ASHRAE, that's the worst you can do. Honestly, think about it in another way. Because if you do anything less than that, it's a disaster. We are providing you the base minimum. Once you have the design, then you have the integration of the design with other services. Then the third point is also very important, because who's going to build it? You give the design to somebody who doesn't understand what is there. He keeps building something which has no idea to him. And for example, last month we were called in, I'm a contractor too, so we were called in to inspect one of the newest hospitals in Dubai. Beautiful, beautiful facility. Design fantastic. You go inside the hospital, it's freezing. You walk around the perimeter, the rooms are full. We check the design, what's wrong? There's nothing wrong. Design seems to be okay. Then we started opening the ceiling. We checked the corridors. The duct sizes have gone haywire. We called in the contractor and asked him what happened. He says there is no space, because there are gas pipes, there is oxygen running around, there is the firefighting pipe running around, so we couldn't get through. So what's the point in having a beautiful design if you can't build it? Or you give it to a contractor who doesn't understand what is designed. And why is it? It's very important to understand why are you doing something. Not just simply follow something is there, but if the contractor doesn't understand, why is he doing it? And what is the end result? What is the customer going to feel? After you build a building, somebody is going to occupy it. The person who is going to occupy it, will he feel comfortable? Will the design serve his need? Very important to us. Then the fourth point, let's imagine the building is also done nicely. So the original design is beautiful. Second, integration of services in the design is beautiful. Third, the construction is beautiful. Let's say you did the construction, and after 1 year, the contractor leaves. What happens after 1 year? Many of the buildings, if you go in and look at it, you will think this is 10 years old, but in reality, it may be 2 or 3 years old. And trust me, I have seen it many times. The BMS system doesn't give you proper reading. It doesn't even work. And you go and ask the management company, they will say, oh no, we don't have a maintenance contract with BMS now. The owner decided not to have it. What does it mean? So why did you build it, first of all? So these 4 levels are very, very important. That's where training for an engineer comes in. Now you are running a course to train those who are already knowledgeable in this field. You are not starting. So my point will be, this country is still growing. And in my opinion, it will take another 20 to 30 years for this country to build itself, to call itself mature. By the time it grows from the growth and the construction factor to maturity level, the focus will change from quantity to quality. Then there is a very important need for knowledgeable people to maintain what is built. Because if you cannot maintain what is built, you're killing. You're doing it again. Think about what you said. Most of these services, MEP services especially, are either inside the floor, behind the wall, or above the ceiling. If you do it wrong, very rare chances of correcting it. If a building is done wrong, trust me, they have to live with it. You go for retrofit, you will correct it 20-30%. Rest of the things you will have to tell the client, the owner, sorry sir, this is what the best we can do, otherwise you break the building. There's nothing else you can do. There is a huge requirement to train the professionals, because everybody calls themselves engineers. We are engineers, and trust me, if you start asking questions to them, they don't even know what is there. Then they will tell you, it's in the design. I built it as per the design. The design was given to be my consultant. Okay. And you go back to the consultant and you will start seeing that the consultant has copy-pasted it from somewhere else. Does it really? An engineer should really, when he goes to a construction field, or even when he goes to a retrofit site, he needs to ask himself, what am I trying to achieve here? What should be the end result? What does the owner want and what does the end user want? Then you start reworking it, it will be beautiful. There's a lot of demand and there's a lot of need for good people, for people who understand what is needed. That's where what you said becomes very important. The integration of all the services. Somebody may be good in HVAC, somebody else may be good in electrical, somebody else may be good in firefighting, BMS system, data cabling, music, whatnot. You need a lot of things. Think everybody is working on their own and he doesn't think about the other guy. The first guy will come and do and go. Second guy will come and do and go. Third guy comes, he doesn't have space to install. Then he will squeeze in what he can do and say, this is all what can be done. Thank you, and I really wish you good luck. We need it.
Thank you very much. Actually, following on what you mentioned, it's statistics which shows that the life cycle costing of a building, most of the cost actually comes after it has been constructed, while most of the time people are just trying to save on the upfront cost.
Absolutely.
And that's an important concept where people don't look at it for the long run. And in order to be able to save the long run, as you mentioned, you put the high-tech technology there, but you need also knowledgeable people to run it, otherwise they are worthless.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm sure Society of Engineers will answer it better. They see it every day as well, because there are two important factors which are running in the veins of this country. One, they need it now. If a building takes normally, say, 3 years to build, they want it in 1.5 years. Second, the cheapest contractor will get it. And when he gets it, he is trying to squeeze everybody else down the lane, till the last guy. Whoever quotes cheap, what's the result? Thank you.
Mr. Ben, you're working with FARC services. Essentially, you're responsible for a lot of buildings you want to operate in and what have you. And I know one of the things that you're focusing on specifically yourself is the benchmarking of buildings and how you look at buildings and how they use energy. We can see a lot of buildings which look similar from the outside, but once you go to the inside or once you look at their energy or water bills, you see a big discrepancy. And this is done through benchmarking and energy utilization index. So how do you see someone, or do you see an importance in terms of building services engineering in order to be able to, one, reduce the energy consumption of buildings, and two, improve essentially the benchmarking or the energy utilization buildings of energy of existing buildings?
At first, the role of building service engineers is becoming increasingly important in achieving higher sustainability and energy efficiency levels. We see that through either, as our colleagues here mentioned, through the design stage, designing efficient buildings, and going to the operation stage and functioning of the building. We see that there's a huge importance on how to integrate the systems, how to manage them, and how to optimize them. As you mentioned, buildings nowadays are expected to be more energy efficient, to rely less on resources, and to have a lower impact on the environment. We've seen that buildings nowadays consume 40% of the total primary energy consumption, and 1/3 of the greenhouse gas emissions, contribute 1/3 of the greenhouse gas emissions. But if we continue on consuming at the same way, at the same rate, buildings would contribute to 50% of the greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. So to avoid that, buildings and building services should incorporate sustainability principles, energy management, energy efficiency, low carbon technologies, and renewable energy. And the role of building service engineers is extremely important in doing that. As you mentioned, there's a huge potential for improvement of the existing building stock in the UAE. So we've seen that as based on MSc Building Council benchmarking project, were specific for hotels in the UAE. Poor performing hotels consume 3 times more energy and 7 times more water compared to good performing hotels. We've seen it at the same result at Farnek based on a hotel optimizer tool that Dubai hotels consume 225% more than hotels in Europe. So there is a huge potential for improvement. And definitely this creates the ESCO market and facilitates the growth of the ESCO market. And there's a need for professionals that are able to identify the potential areas for improvement and to design and develop cost-effective solutions, energy conservation measures, and energy efficiency measures.
Dr. Ala, in the UAE, we have, I think they were saying that we have over 200 nationalities. So we have people, experts from all over the world, and most of the designers, most of the people who are in the private sector are actually expats. Now, this is a good thing in terms of bringing capacity or bringing experience quickly, but one of the problems that we face in the industry is that most of these people, when they come here, they essentially work based on the knowledge and experience that they had in their home countries. And they try to implement or copy-paste solutions that work in other places. They try to copy-paste them here, which usually is not the case. So that's why there is essentially a big demand for local context. So what do you think about programs which are designed specifically to work with local context, local climate, local requirements, and essentially build the local capacity, not only for the present, but also for the future? And maybe you can also give some examples about this, which has been done already in BUiD as well.
Thank you very much. Of course, this university, I will start my talk to you. This university established in the beginning as a state-based university. And that it has to be in own strategy of this university to direct the activities academically and through the different academics programs which we are launching here and executing as a research-based. academically we are here at university with all activities we are working as academics. There is direction of 40% of the academic activity should be towards the research. And at the same time, regarding the students attending our postgraduate programs in MSc degrees or PhD, all the modules there is embedded in each module, there is an element of research, where we try as a university with the strategy line with the strategy of the government of UAE and especially government of Dubai to enhance and to improve the culture of research. Research, scientific research, always we are working on the theories and basic benchmarking from all around the world, but the application on the environment of the society has its own impact and essentially on all the parameters, which is different from one society to the other society, from one environment to other environment. For that reason, we have a lot of research activities regarding through the academics, as I said in the beginning, and through the assignment of research work and projects and dissertation to our students. As a university, we are very, the management of the university and the procedure that here we are adopting is very generous to granting a lot of research grants towards research, applied research in different directions, and towards finding solution and providing a proper and practical solution to the requirement and needs in the society anyway. And as well, in the same times, we are working with our students to work on the research base using all the theories they are learned and taken from the academics, modules and theories to apply and use the application through proper application through the environment of UAE, especially in the building services and the environment here. There is an impact on the parameters which is related to these buildings and environment and sustainability and energy management and resources and the culture and society. As you mentioned, Professor Bassam, early on in yours, the sustainability is related to economic and social important. These, it has to have their impact, and we are always maintaining that through our activities of research as an academics and through our students in their assignment, in their dissertation work as research. As well, I have some presentation later on, I can show you some of the aspects of the research activities is carried by university academics. Some of them associated with our students in master degree and PhD, and always with continuation. There's continuation of that based on the environment required.
Thank you. You have something about?
I'm going to present very roughly just some outlines of our research in different areas in sustainable built environment and building services and some of the research is related to our engineering faculty, which shows the aspect of what we are talking about and how to get these principles and knowledge to it, which is applied everywhere around the world, but how we apply it with the environment of UAE especially.
Okay, so we'll see the presentation and then we'll open the floor for questions from the audience.
All what I'm going to show here in my small presentation, very short, I don't want to go into deep in this, just to show you the topics and the areas where we did execute some research in different areas. Starting from very complicated research topics and very big systems such as HVAC system. HVAC system, for example, in the beginning, most of the research carried on this system is a very complex system. And they're talking about individual elements in that system. While we are in BUiD, we did develop a complex model, taking all the elements inside it and integrating in order to enhance and to find and investigate the actual behavior characteristics of the system in an environment in UAE. HVAC system, as everybody mentioned earlier on, is nearly taking about 50% of building energy consumption. Therefore, to optimize the energy consumption of HVAC system in our area and our think and believe is starting from the system itself. To model it properly and to get an accurate model to present and to see and manage and the behavior of the system in certain environment. We did manage to build a model, a mathematical model based on hybrid non-distributed parameter. Might be the term is very complicated, but it is normally the modeling of all systems is based on LAMP model. LAMP model means that I will take in any system, whatever it is the size and spatial recognition of the system in concentrated in one point. While that it will be very far from the accuracy. And we included one of the disperse effect on disperse characteristic of the system and joining as a hybrid model of mathematical model. It is a very complicated model. It's different. It is related to very advanced mathematics and partial differential equation and based on wave propagation, pressure waves propagation system. That will give us a feeling of a very actual, more accurate system to build. And that system is actually, as an HVAC system, is very complicated system and multivariable system. That means there is multivariable, multiple variable inputs and multiple variables and outputs. To get these and to have the feeling about the behavior of the system on certain environment, has a very big spatial dimension in the system, it needs very complicated mathematical model. We did use an array representation of a complete HVAC system. That is the definition of array in general on schematic. This included is the area of ventilated volume, where all these three parameters are the input and three parameters are the output, and it included all atmospheric disturbances and chilled water pump and voltage. As a system in the end, even the bleeding for ventilation, we included this. The model, it is a very complicated model. Mathematically, it's very complicated. It's been published in very high-ranking journals and with a lot of citation for it. And that is transferred as a mathematical model. We did use one of the tenants and one of the airports in UAE as a base for case study to apply this. And the mathematical model here is very flexible. We can adapt it for any space, any areas, buildings or big spaces. And this is the general HVAC system model. Why are we doing this? This is a system simulation model. The schematic diagram, block diagram of the simulation is very complicated. And as we build it and we execute it successfully, the result here is in time domain. In time domain, people who work in control, to look on the system, HVAC system itself, first we need to control and optimize the energy consumption inside the system itself. To get that one, you need to have the feeling of what the system, how the system behavior in time domain. The time domain, that means in actual time. To show you how well it will be. It's a dynamical system. When it will be coming out of the transient area, when there's a disturbance, how it will be reactive of disturbance. To look on all issues, for example, such as integrity of the system and stability of the system. Is all that in the time domain. And the beauty of the system, of this model, you can track any inputs and you can track any outputs. You can include all disturbances possible dispersed in the systems. That will give us a very wide spectrum of the analysis of the system, which will be ready to get it further on to design a control strategy for the HVAC system as it is, as a completed system. As far as we know in our research, there is no such complete mathematical model for the complex system like that in the literature. As well, we did use this, as we mentioned earlier on, Professor Abdullah Shamsin and Professor Bassam, about our university and research. We did use this as well with our student. There's a student, a PhD student, working on this to design and to develop a control strategy for this system. To take this system from time domain, you need a certain procedure. I don't want to include all details, but if you are interested in this, I can discuss it later on. This system is taking us to transfer it to another mode, where I can see, as I said, this is a propagation, wave propagation, based on wave propagation methodology. That means we need to take it to wave representation. Then that means frequency domain, where I can disassemble all the system this here with all these disturbances in different format, where I leave it to B2C to look on all the integration inside the system, all the parameters which are inside the system, how it are integrated, how are related. Excuse me. And that system is for 3x3. That means I'm only the first one, which is a design system for 3 variable input variables and 3 output variables. These are 3 out variables, any out variables you want, and then I transfer the system, we transfer the system to all these, and then we can see the interaction between all the elements in that system, and we design what we call it inner loop. To maintain here the system as stable is given the same responses, the required characteristics is the same as the dynamic system for the time domain, and then we can move from here and working with what we call it outer loop design. This here in outer loop design, the beauty of this technique we developed here in British University in Dubai is based on least effort energy consumption. That means the controller itself, it has the minimum use of energy. That's the first thing in it. How is that generated? Is by designing the controller as a small, what we call it, gains, straight weight gains. Normally, all strategies which is available commercially in the field of control strategy is based on very complicated actuators, such as DC motor, AC motors, complicated. These all are already consuming a lot of energy and as well require a lot of maintenance. While here, when you have it as a straightforward gains, small gains, minimizing the energy at the one time and reducing the maintenance and increasing the availability and stability of the system. It's very complicated, but it is very, very good. The first results we saw in the PhD, as I said, research is very promising, and we are here. We're working on to compare to any other commercial programs or strategies, and we found that it's very useful. It's very far away from the others, which, for example, there's NIQuest or other things, which we meant to do there by controlling every aspect of the system, mainly the stability of the system, in spite of any disturbance. Any disturbance in the system, could cause instability in the system. Instability in the system, that means failure of the HVAC system. While this, we maintain with the control to keep the system stable, and robustness is very high, to keep whatever is the disturbance is in, it can be accommodated and it can give you the optimum what is required. I move to another one, which is energy modeling, sun path. First is the sun path and shading analysis. Energy modeling is here. We can see these 2 videos. Is one to monitor the sun rising and sun moving in the winter and in the summer. Here, in order to get the model, energy model, we need to monitor the sun rising through the winter. The winter is a shorter time of the sun, and then while the summer is longer. As you see the shading as well, all this is done by simulation through our academics, through the students and academics by themselves in Faculty of Engineering. This all monitoring, and then in order to get an accurate model for the energy model. Where we have this one, we are using model for PV tracking shape device and see that application here. All the effects of all these are. All this research is by academics in British University in Dubai for the needs for that. And the environment here is UAE environment. Recent research in lighting as well, use the shade, and here there's another project where it shows 3 different types, 3 different areas, 3 different and then it shows to you all the energy consumption and how is the shade and lighting inside with simulation in different aspects here. Building a PVCs, and as well see here another project where we're working on different elements and building integrated PVs, and you can see how different type of integration there for the buildings. and we can see the results for the lighting and integration as well. I'm just trying to just to give you an idea about the research we have here. It is about techno-economic and environmental evaluation of introducing renewable energy systems in a reverse osmosis simulation plant, and this has been, as well as research, is being done by academics and students in British University of Dubai. And here, design and evaluation of demand reduction through applying passive and active strategies and in all and human climate, and these taking in account the peaks and the off-peak time and how is that affecting the building consumption of energy. And here as well is the grid electricity demand and reduction through an applying passive and active strategy for the house, and how we can see that the peaks and the off-peaks, how it will be acting, and then with the PVs in. And here we have another applied research by comparison of scale model, photometry, and computer simulation. We designed three mini 1 to 10 scale of buildings, different type with different direction of furniture inside, and one with the furniture, another one different direction of furniture, and the other one is empty, and with a sensor for picking out the signal and the lighting, and is put it for a full complete here to record all the lighting on it and the effect of the furniture inside, how it will the lighting have been affected through that. And here is the enhancing user energy engagement with energy feedback systems, as well to this investigation of influence of energy feedback design features on user understanding and action, scenarios differentiate based on survey and interactive, and design feature frequency and content, and the other information. And here are one suitable energy, sustainable energy system planning and assessment tool for large building in hot air climate, how we can work on the layers on it and the develop of the processes and the future. And here it is that one of the enhancing the skin performance of the created envelope of the buildings with a certain usage, which is the hospital building in UAE, in Abu Dhabi actually, and we've taken, this is the area by the Google map, and through that, and this is the actual building. And aims of this paper is to investigate the potential for thermal performance enhancement of the envelope of the hospital building sited in Abu Dhabi. And here is the base case performance, and here is the efficient case performance of the systems. Here is one of, as well, student research dissertation, and it's about optimizing the energy performance in the hospitality sector in UAE using the integrated control methodology in the guest rooms. And here building the energy benchmarking finding, and then using the model in it, so the model, and then energy modeling, and we trying to minimize the control of the energy by integrating methods. And here it is about demand side management. This is a new, this is with the Tata team, and working on the theory of the thermal energy tank, storage tank, and how to use it and maintain and optimize the consumption of energy and through the day, one day, and through the year in the HVAC system. This is good.